achieve their goals here. So welcome. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk a little bit about Chainlit. We're going to dive in to show you how easy it is. We're going to talk a bit about fine tuning, and we're also going to talk about some eval for RAG. This is something we're getting lots of questions about. This is something that we're getting lots of interest in. We also heard from you guys last class, more stuff ahead of time, doing our best to do that for you. Sent an email today. Hopefully those of you looking for that stuff ahead of time, you liked that. A lot of asks for eval. So what we're going to do today is we're going to build with some eval tools, the ones that basically you can really impress folks out there with today. And then what we're going to do is we're going to really decompose and deconstruct what's really going on behind the scenes, behind these eval tools as we move into next week, next Tuesday. And, we're also going to talk a little bit about today about the differences between LlamaIndex and LangChain, because this is another hot topic that we've been hearing from you about in class as well as in office hours. But first, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go ahead and open up the room for everybody to tell us a little bit about what they are planning to build. All right. So when we talk about your projects, when we talk about the thing that you're going to get out of this course at the end of the day, that's not simply a tool. It's not simply another thing that you kind of used in an assignment context, but it's actually a thing that you've got a story for. It's a thing that you're actually interested in. It's a thing that you can really get that next job with, or build that next startup with, or do something that you're truly passionate with. That's the kind of thing that we're looking for. And that's the kind of thing we want to hear about what you've got going on. And so what I want to do is, first of all, did anybody prepare any sort of pitch? Did anybody prepare anything?
Well, I have prepared, but I'm not sure if I still prepare because I'm digesting my day today. But yeah, I have more or less.
You've got a beer. You're prepared, dude. 100%. I feel like whatever you say is gonna rock it. Did anybody else prepare besides Raul? Okay, good. Well, here's what I want to do. I'm going to leave this up on the screen unless you want to show any slides, and maybe we'll let Raul go first. Raul,
mine is not slides. It will be pretty much like a pitch, elevator pitch.
Okay.
But it has somehow this structure.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I want to go around the room, and I want everybody. I'm going to give everybody 3 minutes. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. You have 3 minutes on the clock. And I want you to tell us about the problem that you're interested in solving. And if you really hook us at the beginning, we're going to be nodding our heads up and down. We're going to be like, oh yeah, in the first like 10, 20 seconds, we're going to be doing that. And then as you go from the problem in the first 10, 20 seconds, I want you to make sure you make it clear, who's this problem really, who has this problem? Is it somebody in your company? Is it somebody out in the world? Is it somebody in an open source community that you're a part of? And then sort of explain how you believe LLMs can be useful in solving this problem. From there, you can actually start talking about the things that you're probably most interested in talking about, which is, well, where's the data? What LLM are you taking? You picking LangChain or picking LlamaIndex? How are you thinking about eval, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Some of you have company context you're coming from. Feel free to just talk about those projects. But the goal here is twofold. One is to make you practice. But two, more importantly, is to get your idea in front of other people in the class. Both people that are here now and people that will watch this later, because everybody's most likely to watch the stuff right at the beginning of the recording. And I encourage anybody out there on the internet at any point that you're watching this to reach out directly to anybody that you're interested in the project that they tell us about right now. Because at the end of the day, we wanted to be very, very hands-on and give everybody tons of feedback on each project. But in the interest of, just looking at all of our schedules and trying to understand exactly how much time we'll be able to put into that over the next 1 week, where it's really going to be crunch time. Honestly, it's not going to be enough time to do all of that justice. And so what we'd like you guys to sort of get the word out within the community, and we'll try to amplify as best we can. We're still working to get your feedback on those first couple of assignments, to be frank. So tonight, I want everybody to kind of share their idea. If you don't have an idea, that's okay. Share that, and share that you're looking for an idea in some particular domain and you're looking for a team to join. This is about connecting people. This isn't about putting anybody on the spot and making them feel like an idiot. All right. This is about just sort of coming together and trying to figure out what we should be working on over the next couple of weeks. That's really going to make a big impact for us and our goals. All right. So with that, Raul is a great place to start, already crushing it. And before he pounds too many beers, he can go ahead and kick us off. So I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock, and then you can popcorn to whoever you want after this. We'll make it a little bit more fun like that.
Oh, would that be in breakout rooms or
No breakout rooms. We're going to do this together. So this
okay.
is going to take a little bit of time, but I think it's worthwhile. And we've got the rest of the time that we're going to kind of just build. All right. And
Awesome.
since we don't have 30 people, we're going to do 3 minutes. All right, here we go. Go.
Cool. So the problem is like my solution is in the marketing area. So the problem is that most marketing agencies, they invest a lot in the strategy, but they don't have time to pretty much actually use the time available to formulate the strategy, especially because they're drowned on executing the marketing plans, which is pretty much consists of like blog post contents, email marketing, and this all come from a single strategy elaborated document that we use an LLM to pretty much reason on this document, and for prompt engineering, hopefully, right, should not cost so much, can elaborate this whole execution in an automatic fashion. And the LLM will look like with LangChain orchestration. Now I just recently learned LlamaIndex, so I might consider also using it, and get what is out there best to be used, right? And so it will be, for the sake of like data privacy, will be like the user would be uploading their own documents. So the strategy, probably the owner of the agency will, upload the document, and the product, the system would elaborate the entire execution, ideally through blog posts, all content, email marketing, and it goes to every sort of like output you can imagine coming from a marketing plan execution. Yeah, and this is it. I didn't even use like the 3 minutes, so.
Boom. Okay, so you're talking about marketing strategy. Take the marketing strategy, create an entire execution plan for that marketing strategy using the LLM. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool,
it comes from a 2-page document, from what I could research, and with my probably to be co-founder in this initiative, which is who is a friend who has been like in marketing his entire career, executing marketing plans pretty much. So.
All right. You could have started the story with the fact that this is for a startup and you already have a co-founder. That's also pretty dope. Love to hear that. About to be newly, freshly employed with the co-founder. On to the next one. Who's next?
So I'll popcorn to Milan, which is my next in my screen here. The next in the screen.
Milan put on the spot.
Is Milan there? I don't know.
I think Milan took a break. Let's popcorn somebody else.
So Jay is my next the next in my screen.
All right, one sec. Turn on my AC. Yeah, I've been knocking around an idea actually kind of relevant to what I was talking to you with this morning, Greg, around developer experiences. So I work a lot with software engineers on the full product lifecycle. One of the common problems I've observed, and this doesn't have to be just software, it's any system really. Developers and stakeholders want to know how a system works or should behave. And right now we've got documentation for that. So systems are described in a number of ways. There's user stories, functional requirements, code itself, which is often canon for describing how a system works, README markdown files, Jupyter notebooks. So there's a lot of ways to describe how a system can work. During development, a lot of artifacts get created, like a lot of documentation gets created from that. So Trello tickets, things that provide a holistic picture of what the application does or should do. If your project has one document that describes everything about your software and how it should behave, then kudos to you. But I've never worked on a project that has that level of documentation and diligence. So I've thought about working on starting some sort of open source tools to improve developer experience. And the goal would be to use LLMs to help aggregate, look at these types of documents and aggregate a picture of what the specification for the software is. And I think it would take a lot of, not necessarily training, but auxiliary example documentation from developers themselves or product owners to paint a picture about what a system does, and then feed that to an LLM and have it sort of describe what the system does and how it should behave. So common use cases would be like, hey, I'm a developer, I need to reseed the database on production. How do I do that? That query is something that you could ask your specification about, and it could say, oh, well, this particular system has this paradigm for reseeding the database. Here's how you do it. Here's what you run. So that's the big picture behind it that I've been kind of knocking around.
Nice. Love it.
Jay,
Love it. That's pretty meta.
Yeah, Jay, you can actually take inspiration from Meta GPT and
Oh yeah,
posting it here on the chat. It's you can prompt Meta GPT to actually create all these requirements, data, user stories, all of this stuff. So you can either use it to generate your data set, or also to gain some inspiration.
sweet, thank you. Maybe they've already built what I want to build.
I think you want to build something that explains what is done. They are building something that creates what is to be done.
Interesting.
Something that generates, yeah.
Yeah,
But
sure.
still you can build it.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks.
I'm doing this in front of you guys because I'm just going to take notes. Auto marketing plan, and I'm gonna go ahead and post. I want to create a new tag, and I'm not exactly sure how. So if somebody can create a new tag, maybe that is like projects or something. Otherwise, I'm just going to put this. But then I'm going to do this for each person. So for instance, Jay, developer experience. Pano, if you have stuff you just put in the chat, just throw it on this thread instead. And we can just get the discussion
idea.
rolling here. Okay, so I'll just keep doing this while you guys are talking and see if we can make some connections. Okay. All right. Keep it rolling, Jay.
Cool. I'll
we go-
popcorn it over to Pano.
Thanks. Can I pull in Christos, who is my marketing and ideation partner in the project? We've been discussing about a project to build, and I think he has the magic words about it much better than I do.
Yes, we
Christos,
can.
can you
One
jump in?
second. I lost my timer on the screen here. So hold on one second. Let me pull it up. Sorry about this. Okay. You can go ahead. Get in this dial then. Thanks, everybody.
All
All right,
right,
Chris, take it away, baby.
hello everyone. So we've all used ChatGPT, and many people are familiar with how it works and what the benefits of it are, but it's very general. And if you're a small-time business and you want to use it for your specific use case, it's kind of difficult without having a developer or being a developer to get a version or a chat agent up and running for your website and for your specific domain information. So thinking of like a chat GPT for your data on your document, what we wanted to do is take specific information. So think of like identity and access management for an organization, regardless of the organization. And now considering that we have the power of LlamaIndex with data hierarchy. So you might be a user in your organization or on a team within the organization, and then there's company-wide information. So you'd have sort of like certain access to different information. And so the idea here is we have ChatGPT, we know how to do retrieval augmented generation on top of that, but what we don't have is a layer in between for like different kinds of information retrieval for specific users. And so what we were thinking of doing is, because what businesses want to know is how do we kind of provide, what does my day look like, or what is this information, what email did I send, and what was the content of that email to my employee X on this date. So that sort of thing. And that can be solved, we believe, with LlamaIndex and the retrieval augmented generation type chat that we've seen in this class. So that's what the idea is. And I think it hopefully can be generalizable for companies, small companies that are, it'd be quick to set up, and something that we could implement for any business. I've been approached by small hospitality company like Airbnb type company, or people who want to have an agent for their specific use case, and they just want it up and running. So that's the idea.
Boom. Love it. I love it. Love hearing about all these approaches people are getting. Everybody's getting approached. Everybody that's crushing it online is getting approached. All right. Who are we going to next, Christos? Good stuff.
Next on the screen, we got, Juan, are you doing a project or are you just advising?
Both.
He's always doing a project, baby. Yeah, we got it. Okay, here we go, Juan.
Yeah, it's the same project from a few months ago, which is growing. Movie agencies, movie companies, movie directors in Hollywood receive tens and tens of scripts every single day. They don't have time to read all that. A script can have over 100 pages, sometimes close to 200 pages. What we are building is a script summarizer. The company or the product name is Script Commander because it will include more things than summarizing. And the thing is, anyone can say, oh, I can summarize any document ever easily, but it's not true. When you take a script and you summarize it and you read it and you know the story, you know that that summary is missing key details, nuances that humans can spot, but LLMs can't. So we have been able to develop a process, a pipeline that has gotten us 95% plus quality in script summarization. Movie directors that are reading the scripts that we're building are really, really surprised, and they only have to add one little thing to the script summary to make it perfect. In top of that, we are providing more information like characters, themes, locations, scenes, statistics about the script. So it's a whole coverage of the script. Usually, coverage of a script is done by people. They usually have a turnaround of 3 to 5 days in a rush or more than a week in a regular service. With Script Commander, movie companies will have their coverage in under an hour at a price that is unbeatable. Period.
What a pitch.
He's done this before, ladies
Right.
and gentlemen. Yeah, okay. He has built
How much money do you want?
Yeah. Take my money, Juan. Take it.
Not yet, not yet, not yet.
All right. We can have questions for the final 20, 30 seconds if anybody has questions.
Yeah, I have a question. You mentioned 95 quality. How did you get to that?
Yeah, that's a good question. We saw in today's notebook something that I didn't know, RAG assessments. We built our own faithfulness and relevancy algorithms, and I was surprised when I saw RAGAS. Ours is a little bit different, but the concepts in the end seem to be familiar. So
as it should be. Okay,
yeah.
all right.
And the numbers we are getting are similar to the qualitative or numbers that the directors that are reading the scripts are giving us. So I think that the measurement that we have created is in part with the human perception.
I love the customized metric.
All right, let's keep it moving, people. We're going to post on Script Commander. Discord link will be in the chat in just a second here. Who are we going to next, Juan?
Yeah, I want to jump to, by the way, any question you can post it in the chat and I can answer. I want to go to Milan if he's available.
Hey, Milan's here. Absolutely, man. Yeah, so my goal here is just something simple. In the adversarial generative AI to reveal potential misuses and determine likely mitigation steps, right? So you're probably thinking like, who has this problem? All of you have this problem. Every financial services company, every insurer, you name it, right? And so what we're really focused on, or what I'm trying to think here, is that using a generative AI for both threat actor profiles to really anticipate behaviors of the type of attackers, do pen testing, red teaming, and then malware generation, right? On the opposite side, let's quit trying to protect our stuff. Like, let's go after, our individual systems and then determine, how can we improve them? And so a lot of times we don't think about it that way, but every single insurance company today is working on some type of solve for this. And so that's what my big issue here is. What I'm trying to focus on over the next, week or two is just coming up with a clever way to relook at this from a different perspective, from an adversarial simulation through generative AIs, through using a generative AI component.
Can we call it LLM's attack? What should we call it?
Oh man, I like that. Adversarial LLMs. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what we're trying to do, right?
All right. Comments, questions? Well, maybe we'll take 30 seconds.
Yeah, very interesting, Milan. Congrats. It's like a question. It's like, is there a specific use case you're maybe narrowing down at the moment, or general?
It's something specific, but more general. and every single company right now, this is the biggest top of mind item right here.
There you go. There you have it, people. This is the biggest top of mind item from all the companies that Milan talks to, and it's a lot of them. All right, that is some good info. So I think there's plenty of pie there for everybody. Let's get adversarial, people. No, I'm just kidding. Let's be friends. Okay, let's keep moving, Milan. Who we going to next?
Oh man, I love the popcorn. I love the popcorn, idea. So Todd, come on down, brother.
Yes.
All right, so probably my favorite idea right now is targeted towards software development. So a lot of people have this issue. You the abilities of both ChatGPT and tools like GitHub Copilot are tantalizingly useful, right? And so you think you can just use those to like build like, for example, Roblox scripts for your kid or whatever you want, and it works for a little while, but like it doesn't really learn. You have to keep prompting it. It drifts a little bit, and so ideally what you want is your own open source LLM to help you do this, so that you can customize it for the things that you really need to do, and it's not going to forget those things, and you're going to have control over it. So I'm going to figure out what the best coding is. Maybe we'll take a look at Decicoder, or look at the Llama 2 or Falcon, or whatever the best open source coding ability is out there, and then build specific like personal coding, personal assistant, and then you can build the customizations into it. That's my idea at this point.
Questions, comments? Decicoder, LOL.
Todd, do you have an example of a Roblox customization that you're thinking about implementing for the first in mind?
Yeah, so there's a lot of good examples of even just like a NPC, like a non-player character attacking a player character. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of different ways to accomplish those things. And every time I ask ChatGPT or GitHub Copilot or whatever, it gives a different way. And then I read other scripts and I'm like, oh, that's a cool way. Sure, but like you have to have a library of things that actually work well. And so like those types of the common things, basically.
Interesting. All right, killer. Todd, moving on. Who are we going to next?
Let's go to Jason.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I guess my idea, so the why. So the problem is cities want to build more, but city permitting departments are overloaded. And it often takes weeks or months for builders to get feedback on permits they submit. Why? Because it is harder to upgrade an existing city than to build a city from scratch. So existing cities have legacy infrastructure. They have water, sewage, electric lines. They have complicated traffic management. They have many existing neighbors, stakeholders, affected parties. So, the people that have this problem are the city permitting departments themselves. So they are the good guys. They're the ones trying to manage all of this complexity in the permitting process. And so one of the ways you might be able to solve this problem is create an open source software framework that could coordinate teams of LLM agents that can analyze building permits, identify conflicts of interest, and get feedback to builders like much quicker. So rather than, you know, weeks and months, you know, within minutes or hours. And so what does that look like from a technical standpoint? I mean, in order for something like this to gain traction with more than one city, I mean, it'd probably have to have it would be an open source application layer. And then ideally, you know, a foundational model that would, you know, would be fine tuned to be able to extract relevant information from permits, but also be capable of doing, you know, tool use. And it would be really cool in the future if that same model, you know, you can use something like LoRa and do some efficient fine tuning techniques so that the same model could be used for hundreds and hundreds of cities that inevitably will have different looking permits, different types of permits. So that's the idea. Happy to talk about it with anyone on the side.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, I see a lot of positive impact in your idea, Jason. Cities really need to streamline, you know, to perfect that process.
Thanks, Juan.
City permit GPT. I don't know, I'm just coming up with names for you guys. Rocking it. Killer. Love it, Jason. Let's keep it rolling. Comment, like, and sub. It'll be in the chat. Who are we going to next? Jason, I'm going to ask that you popcorn to the next person. I'm glad that you're able to join us. Where are you calling in from today?
Yeah, so I'm back stateside.
Back stateside. Okay.
Yeah.
He was over in Bangladesh building a city, right? Something like that.
Yeah, close to it.
Yep.
Let's see. Hung, have you gone yet? Hung Tran?
Not yet. Thank you.
Okay.
So the stuff that we are working on at the moment is to use LLM and to turn a textbook into the teachers. So pretty much students have to have another way of consuming the textbook content, right? It can chat with the concept, kind of ask questions about the example, and then have the guide how to do the homework problems and do quiz tests whatsoever. And the other thing is we use LLM to generate the interactive video of the concept. So you can pick from any character that you like Benjamin Franklin to teach you about money, some stuff like that. So you can, like, you have a personal tutor right next to you. You can watch the video with the whiteboard illustration, and then you can ask questions at any time. So we call it Math GPT. So it work in beta right now, and then yeah, I think that would like to have some feedbacks from you guys.
Yeah, killer. Nailed it.
Hung, how much money you want?
So actually we are the edtech company, and then have been working on this space for a while. So we want to do the so we want to build an AI tutor for a very, very long time, but just recently when the GPT is out, we were able to make it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Greg. Here it is.
We got 1 minute, but just in case you wonder what Ben Franklin teaching you looks like and feels like, it feels a little bit creepy, but it looks like this. Okay, so yeah, check this out. I'll put it in the chat. Hung is getting after it with Math GPT, and I think I'm sharing sound. Want to hear him talk?
Into the other equation. We substitute y plus 1 for x in the first equation. 2y plus 1 plus y equals 7.
Greg, it's not on the right screen.
But you could hear him.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, okay. All right. Wow. Well, this is what it looks like, the
Sure.
full
What is your
experience of
question?
Math GPT. Okay.
I don't understand why 2 y plus 1 plus y equals sine 7.
So your question is y2, y plus 1, plus y equals 7.
Thanks, Ben. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so Math GPT, obviously Hung crushing it. Very cool. Hung, who are we going to next?
Let me see. We have pretty much everyone here. So I think Yi Lin is next to me.
Yeah. Hello.
Game on.
Hi. So I have this idea from my job in the pharmaceutical company. I think every major big pharma, they have this department called patient centricity, and I'm thinking about making a patient centricity chat GPT bot. So what this department does is that they will listen to patients' experience to understanding what patient goes through when they have a disease. They also not only look into like the patient's personal experience, they will also kind of wanted to pay attention to caregiver or the people in the patient's community. So usually they do analysis from social media, and they also look into academic research. So their customer are other groups in the pharma company, such as like when they wanted to develop a new drug, or if they want to develop some kind of digital application to help patient to go through their patient journey better. One instance is that Pfizer have an application called Living With that is for cancer patients. And so the company that I'm working for, some of them are also thinking about not only making drugs, but also making digital applications. And because of like, they're trying to branch out, not just to finding just chemicals for the disease, they also want to understand like the whole totality of the patient experience. So that's what the patient centricity comes in. And I think that an LLM chatbot will be very useful is because they a lot of their research results are text, for instance, like a research paper, or in the social listening part, will scrape tweets or Reddit posts or from forums to see what things are coming through. And some of the research result will be quantitative. It could be like, oh, here's a trend of like people talking about morning sickness or something during pregnancy, or hot flashes during menopause. But they also sometimes will ask very specific questions. So for instance, like in one of the meetings that I go to, this person in the company, they ask, oh, how is the project I was working on is cancer and mental health. And someone asked a question of like, oh, how does, do you see any post that talks about the mental health impact on children if the parents has cancer? So I think that like an LLM could be very useful for patient centricity.
Boom, patient centricity, got it. Patient-centric AI from Yi Lin. Okay, where are we going next, Yi?
Let's see.
I posted a list of pending people in the chat if you want to pick one of those.
Okay. I guess I will pick Joshua. Joshua, if you're here. So.
Oh, hey guys, it's kind of funny. I just landed on an airplane, so I'm glad you know I was in popcorn first. A problem that this comes from a friend of mine's a doctor, and she says that a big issue is that every time a doctor meets a patient, the medical health record can be long, especially for older patients. It can be, just hundreds of entries, but only a tiny portion of it is relevant for the context of that appointment. And so where an LLM would be very useful would be something that would ingest the medical health record along with the context of, okay, what is this person here for? Is it here to look at their blood sugar levels? Is it to look at their heart issues or whatever it is? And then pull out the relevant and summarize the relevant portions of the record so the doctors can just quickly see what's what's important. So I think that would be cool. Oh, yeah.
Very
Killer.
cool.
Killer. And since we got time, Joshua, is there any, specific skills you would be looking for in a partner or anything?
Yeah, well, this is one of the things. I mean, like what I described as like a problem and that could use a good solution. What's tricky here is, and this is a challenge I think for a lot of startups in this space, is that it's for something like this, it's challenging as an outsider to come in. And, what really has, I mean, there are two large medical health record companies, vendors, and it really has to come internally from within them. So, how you do it, I mean, I think that's really the tricky thing. If you're part of a company like that, I mean, like there's so much that is there's this sort of dance between like where the legacy, the companies that have the distribution, they have the data, and then there's the technical talent that can actually do something cool with it. How to do that in a way that as a developer, you get like a lot of equity from it or something, I think is tricky. I think the problem I described is probably a hard one. There are other ones that are, I think, if you're talking about as a startup, it's a lot easier if you can create your own, get your own distribution essentially. So if you create your own your own product that is so distinct that you can get PR, gets users. Hey, now you can become a real company. Now you have control over that distribution. But if not, then I think the plays are more challenging or different. I mean, you can be like a professional services arm to a company and kind of get paid for those services, but that tends to be different from what most startup founders are looking to do. So I think that the microstructure of how this works is still evolving, but that is something that's going on now.
Yeah, very cool. Sounds like you've investigated this problem space before. Very also interesting, the blood sugar levels thing. I feel like there's a lot of consumer level things on the market for blood sugar, and that's a sort of an interesting one. So, so yeah, if you're interested in talking more about that, hit up Joshua. Otherwise, we're going to move on. We've got everybody in the list in the chat that's still left. Joshua, if you want to pick one of them.
I'll say Babani.
Hey guys, I just joined 5 minutes back. I'm still driving back from my work, so probably I just have I know I could not present or anything, but my idea, I don't know, is that maybe let me ask you, so what is the context, like you have to share your idea? Is that the right understanding?
That's right. You got 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, baby. Sell these people on joining your team, Babani. Sell them.
Okay, sure. So my idea was the problem space is around the acquisition funnel stages. So basically, how you can hyper personalize your different stages, lead to prospect and so on. Basically, creating the end product. What I'm looking for is kind of an personalized AI agent, which will help you to not only capture the leads, basically, and let's say what I envision is, think about a kind of a search bar in your embedded into your homepage, specifically maybe the small to medium e-commerce or anywhere you have the website and or the digital storefront. Then that will act as maybe just a knowledge base to interact with your customers. and then try to create the lead list and obviously the integration into the CRM systems like HubSpot and so on. And then from there, it will take care of sending those different stages of awareness emails and the prospect emails and so on, and complete that chain, basically improving that conversion rate. But it's more of heavy lifting by that AI agent. And how the LLM fits into it, it's you have to create that persona, like the user. It understand what is the current state the user is, and then try to create that personalized email, and then back and forth email communication as well, where this LLM will be used. And then obviously the CRM system integrations will help to accelerate the task by your go-to-market teams. So in summary, it's an AI hyper-personalized agent for managing your, you can say,
your customer journey.
About it. Customer journey. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds like this would
and just to
team
give you
up
such
well.
a small point, sorry, just to add one thing, this is what I kind of tested this into one of the AI talk in San Francisco, and I presented this with a kind of a working prototype leveraging the ChatGPT 3.5. And it's kind of people have an interest into that. So I said, let's expand this into a more of an AI agentic way. Yeah, my presentation is still, I shared in the LinkedIn with the demo as well. If anyone wants just to see, that's a small piece of it. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Boom, love it. Maybe Raul and you should talk. Cool. I'm loving this. This is good. Okay, so let me just go ahead and pick. Let me push to Deepak next. Yeah, you got to come out of the abyss, Deepak. Here we go, baby.
Hey guys. So I haven't given much thought to this, but what I had been working was, helping my niece who is applying to these medical schools, right? And these medical schools require a lot of essays to be written. So basically, I was helping her with this kind of a project for her, wherein you would feed in all information related to her, as well as it would have the capability to go out and search the web and get the information, and then feed that all into LLM to come up with a rough idea. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I don't think it's like I have any bigger plans for it. Yeah.
Well, if you manage to cheat her way into med school, I can't wait to hear about it. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's
first beat last week,
yeah.
and everybody's freaking out about it. But it's like, if you don't use these tools, it's like, man, you're messing up. What should we call it? Med school for me?
Yeah, it's
med school for all.
Well, I think it's more than med. It can be applied to any, career. So it's more like college, essay, age, something like that. It's more.
Yeah. Right.
I think it's broader
It's
than
like
med.
it's like a personal, right?
Yeah, it's a personal
writer
assistant
What's
to
a
go
personal
into college. Something like that.
And not only applied to college, but it can be anything, right?
Yeah, actually even broader, but I would focus on a niche or in a specific thing, because when you go broad, you go shallow, go narrow and go deep.
Yeah, but this is just experiment.
Nice idea.
Well, yeah, let us know if she gets into med school. That's what we want to hear. It's gonna be sick. All right, so
okay,
go to next. We've got a few more. Harpreet, Ekmani, Ingia, Shubham. All right, Deepak's not calling. Ingia, there we go.
Okay, I'll go next. So I have a very rough idea around like using large language model to understand the public company performance for us to get some insights around their stock price, their like public review opinions, so on and so forth. So basically we can extract some data from their financial reports, their earning calls, from Wikipedia or all the news and all the financial reports out there, to ask some question like give us some suggestion on the investment on this company, and like comparing their performance to previous quarter or previous year, and what is the sentiment of the public reviews. I feel like it's a pretty like using the retrieval augmented QA could do something really cool with the public data out there. So just to see what kinds of insights we can extract from their content. So yeah, that's my rough idea. So would like to hear any suggestions and thoughts.
Allow me to jump in. This is so cool. And it's aligned with my research with GPT-3, where I did prompt engineering with an external RAG to do finance question answering. And yeah, we should definitely talk more, EG.
Awesome. Yeah.
This is amazing. One of my co-authors is working for the Department of Treasury in the US. And from what I heard from him, they're interested in our research. So maybe we're going to present at some point there in DC. So let's see.
Awesome. We definitely can talk more.
Yeah.
This is like the problem, right? Like ever since machine learning became a thing, it's like, how do I get it to tell me what to invest in next?
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely lots of interesting thoughts and expertise surrounding that. Okay, so keep it moving.
Okay,
let's not go to Shu Wong next, but let's go. Who do we have?
Yeah.
You want to roll? I just didn't want you guys.
I can go next. I don't have a very concrete one, but I just came up with this idea in the past 20 minutes, I guess.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right,
I would call it like a kitchen AI. So right now my mom is living with us, and every day he helps us cooking. So every day she's asking me like, what do you want to have for tonight? So I see like there are tons of recipes on the internet. Why not search? So I have this idea, like we can probably scrape a bunch of recipes. They have like what kind of grocery material you need, how long does it take, and like how easy it is, and so on. So I guess we can probably build something like, okay, I have these things. I have potato, carrots, cabbage, beef I want to make for dinner, and I have 1 hour to cook. So give me some ideas. I want to make like a 3-course entree. So hopefully we can give them some ideas like what we can cook, and also what kind of recipes we have. Yeah, so that's my idea on this.
Nice. Questions, comments?
Mommy is going to be happy.
And we will be happy.
And you will be even more happy.
That's what it's all about. AI for good right there, making people happy. That's another really famous, I think, example problem that nobody's really cracked yet. And so, yeah, super interesting to see how that turns out. I think, again, going back to Juan's thing, the more you can niche down there, the more that maybe you can create something that really, really works for a specific type of user. And if you're basically going to be able to build something and test it exactly on your mom all the time, that is a super specific user, and it might just work out.
Yeah, I hope it also helps other housewives maybe. Yeah, they don't need to spend that time to design their menu. Yeah, they just need to tell the AI what kind of materials they have in hand.
Yeah, I really love this idea. I think the combination of like seeing what stuff you have in the fridge, what ingredients you have all around, and then what your personal flavor is, maybe it like starts figuring out a trend in what you like on certain days, or like things like that, and then just being able to make that recommendation. I would love that. Again, my wife would love that. It's yeah, 100%.
Love it.
There's a need.
Killer. All right, I think we only have Ekamini and Harpreet. So Ekamini, are you having connection issues, man? Okay, I feel like he is. Harpreet, close us out. You still thinking about Harpreet AI?
Thinking about it, but I want to build something that's going to be immediately more useful to me. So like I tend to take on big tasks and do them in public as a way to like hold myself accountable to learn something. So I've got this like LangChain Zoom camp coming up, and I'm also on contract with LinkedIn to create like a LangChain course. So the biggest problem for me is I've got notes, random notes, right? And I need to find some way to take those random notes and create a talk track, and then use that talk track to create bullet points for a slide deck. This was actually something that I was doing, just doing straight up in regular ChatGPT, where I would give my talk track to ChatGPT, and it would just give me bullet points, but it started to degrade as the conversation progressed. So I thought maybe a front end to do specifically that would be helpful, but then also couple it with maybe like a tweet thread writer that could take my prose and then write a tweet thread about it that I can then use. But then the way of writing, I want it to be very specific, follow some specific guidelines. So there's a author that I love. He's a writing coach. His name is Scott Keyser, and he wrote a book called Rhetorica, 21 Everyday Writing Techniques. And I want everything I write to follow these writing techniques. And then whatever I write in terms of blog posts or tweets should follow a certain writing rhythm, like the 1-3-1 writing rhythm. So it's like kind of like parsing the output in a particular way. So that's like at a high level, like just the thing that would be most immediately useful to me in the next, month and beyond. So that's kind of what I want to build. I don't know what would go into it, if prompting will just get me there, or do I need agents or whatever, but I guess that's what I'm here in this course for, to figure that out.
Nice. I forgot my little timer here, but killer. I like that idea. It's kind of like when we use the Midjourney prompt best practices guide, we say, hey, look at that and then fix this prompt. I like that idea with Rhetorica, using that on yours. Any final comments before we take a quick break?
I have seen the notes management problem for whatever end task a prevalent issue for a decade at least, and I haven't seen a solution for that. Maybe you are onto something, B.
Yeah, what was the Notion? Obviously, is crushing.
There's a project called Quiver, Quivr, and this is they call it a second brain supercharged by generative AI, and this is like a LLM on top of, like, for me, I use Obsidian as my knowledge base. So some LLM on top of Obsidian so that you can chat with your second brain and generate content and stuff like that. So that's super interesting, and I might find some way to leverage that in this project somehow.
I just made a joke in my own head that I laughed at. I was like, should we call this third brain? Like, where does this lead? So what are we naming this, Harpreet? What are we naming this? Notes AI is not good enough.
Yeah, because the outcome's not really notes. The outcome would be like, a slide deck, tweet thread, or a blog post. So maybe just like information communicated. I don't know. Like,
yeah, my
Note
content.
point.
My
Note
content
point
book.
from notebook, from notes to PowerPoint. Your note point.
Yeah.
Note. Okay, all right. So all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take quick five. We're gonna come back. We're gonna build the rest of the time. So we'll see you back at hey, you know what? Here we go. Boom. 5. There we go. We're on it. 5 minutes. See you back. So we are back. Thank you, Ali. All right. So what we're gonna do is we are going to cover Chainlit. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to cover it as best we can in the time that we have, and we're going to focus on the bigger picture here. Now, Chainlit is very, very useful. It's like the most useful UI that you're going to want to mess with. And some of you have already built with Chainlit so far. It's just so easy to implement for LLM applications. If you've used Streamlit, you're going to notice the syntax. If you've used Gradio, even if you've used Fast API, you're gonna be pretty okay with the syntax. The cool things about Streamlit about Chainlit is that it really dials in your sort of vibes with the chain of thought, with the self-refinement, and then it allows you to really dig in and refine those prompts as you build. And it does have integrations with both LangChain and LlamaIndex, as we'll see, but the LlamaIndex one is admittedly a bit more challenging and a bit less streamlined, because after all, it is called Chainlit, right? So okay, so recall prompt engineering. I mean, this idea of self-refinement is this thinking through step by step. We talked about how instructions are really important, context is really important, one shot, two shot, few shot, and chain of thought. Okay, so this chain of thought, a way that we can sort of get there is by using self-refinement. And we talked last time about how really we can take this big chain of thought idea, we can use self-refinement to move from standard prompting to chain of thought prompting, as shown in this really simple example here. And that chain of thought prompting is really just the reasoning steps behind it. And we talked about action agents going through the React framework as really going through these reasoning steps. So we talked about sort of this last time, all of these reasoning steps and this sort of chain of thought reasoning. Now, this is very nice because we can do just reasoning, and we can also do sort of a React vibe as we build out the Chainlit thing. We've seen that this all happens not within Chainlit, but it happens within our application that we're building. Chainlit is just a beautiful way. Like, this is an ugly way to look at this. It's really ugly. And so the point of Chainlit is just to make this a lot easier to navigate, give it a nice, beautiful GUI that we don't have to know HTML and CSS and JavaScript and all this stuff like that none of us want to code. And it's really hard to prompt our way to success coding that stuff. And while it's interesting that it's still very easy to prompt a basic Streamlit application, it's not as easy to prompt a basic Chainlit application. I was playing with this today. So you're going to want to just basically learn the boilerplate. And the boilerplate is going to allow you to kind of get something up and running, as we'll show you in a second, that you can ask simple questions to. And this is sort of the chain of thought feel and vibe that you get with this GUI. So it's much better. So, we can essentially see, okay, we ask a question, what is the Paris weather? How does it compare to today's? And it's going to go into the chain. It's going to then take that action of searching. It's going to go ahead and make that input to the search action. I think this one is actually connected to the SERP API, the Google API. And then, it just says, okay, got the response. And basically it's like, all right, I have the answer. So it's a really just nice way of looking at things. It's a really nice way to let the user interact with your application. And this is kind of the classic example of, you can actually edit the prompt and the prompt chain to dial in the specific details of how you're going to optimize your output. So you can sort of jump in the middle and sort of interact with it and play around. And then it's going to allow you to sort of rerun and recheck things and do things in a really, really nice way without rewriting any code at all. And so this is really the key benefit. And what we want to do is we don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but we just want to show you like how easy it is to get a really simple app up and running. And, you know, I just want to show you that on the website, they've got these little pretty bad videos, but, you know, they do get the job done. Like this one's 26 seconds and there's no volume, right? But it essentially just kind of gives you the boilerplate. I'm going to double speed this. It tells you Chainlit app run. What is the tallest mountain on earth? And bam, there we are. So it really is kind of this easy, and it kind of looks too easy like this. And so we're going to have Ali sort of walk you through exactly what this looks like to just get a boilerplate LangChain application. So the thing is here, if you go and you look at the boilerplate for LangChain, check out this boilerplate. It's like I can fit it in one window. Here it is. Boom. There's the LangChain chainlet. But when I go to LlamaIndex, it's like, well, there's like some stuff we have to put in there. And there's some work we have to do. But as we saw, you know, the query engine is the main thing. So this is a simple retriever query engine set up in LlamaIndex. And the LangChain one, of course, is just using the simple LLM chain. So it was sort of built out very nicely for LangChain. They've been integrating the additional tools as they go. And, you know, so it goes. What we're going to do is we're going to just walk you through the quick LangChain one, and then we're going to have you, well, we're just going to walk you through the quick LangChain one, and then we're going to move on from that. So if you have questions, jump in, but the task this week is going to be a little bit challenging in a number of ways. And it's not going to be just Chainlit. So Ali, show them how to just get this thing up and running in just a few minutes. Are we good? You're muted.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, so we're just gonna show you a little bit in terminal. So everything you need in terminal is actually more of Python 3.8 was very, very important in this. And the reason why it was important was because, oh, I'm sorry, Python 3.11. The latest version of Python worked here. So you definitely need the latest version of Python. Another thing that we went ahead and installed was LangChain and then Chainlit, obviously. And then also the OpenAI package as well. But after we did that, we're able to just run this command. So chainlit run app.py. Now, where are we running this on? So we're running this based off of the app that we've created. So let me show you this real quick. And that looks like this. So hopefully you're seeing the Chainlit demo there. And
we're not seeing the Chainlit demo. We're seeing the VS Code screen right now.
Yeah. So the VS Code screen for the app.py. So you just have to go ahead and put in the OpenAI API key, which since I'm running it through here locally, I've just kind of put it on here. I'm trusting nobody will use this key. So thank you all. Yeah, but basically what you have is you have the template here. So this is the template where you're asking the question, and then you have this decorator. So when the chat starts, we're going to initiate our main, and we're going to grab this prompt template, right? And so from this template, we're going to be able to put in our variable of a question. And so it's going to be able to, we're going to go ahead and be able to ask the questions in this LLM chain. So this prompt is going to be pulled into this LLM chain. And the model that we're using here is OpenAI. We're setting verbose as true. So within this user session, we'll run this session. It'll run on chat start. So once we hit go, it'll submit here, and then we will be able to get a response from this using our API key. And you'll be able to see that also in terminal. Every single time you interact with a chatbot, it'll show something as far as the API key and that you're sending a message to OpenAI and it's being able to pull a request back, right? So let's see what that looks like.
Hey,
I'm
Ali,
going-
I've got a quick question. Maybe you
Sure.
can just double click in for me. So the decorator, the at chainlit dot on chat start and the at chainlit dot on message, these are both going to be in the LangChain one and the LlamaIndex one, right?
Yes. In this one, this is specifically the Chainlit LangChain demo. Yeah, so we have these in here, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna wrap around the function and basically push it to an area that we want to kind of initiate, right? And so this part is specifically on chat start.
Yeah. And so this idea of a decorator is pretty important, right? This is what I
Yeah,
think
so
is a
decorators
commonly
are
misunderstood thing.
yeah, decorators are not, this isn't from LLMs, this is from Python. So they're part of Python all throughout. And so they help as far as being able to kind of like modifying functions before we get them started, so to speak. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run that chainlit run app.py-w that I showed you earlier. And what we'll get, just share screen. So this will be on our local host, port 8000. Share. There we go. And so once I run that chainlit run, I get to this. So right away, localhost port 8000. And it'll automatically pop this window in the same way that Jupyter Notebook would pop up once you open up Jupyter Notebook. And then we can get started, right? So hello. What do you need help with? This is something that we had in the template for the prompt. What do you need help with? How can I cook eggs? So here we go. Gather your ingredients. You'll need eggs, butter or oil, and any other ingredients, and we can get to cooking our eggs. And so this is just a quick way to kind of like take a app, wrap it around, and deploy a local application. Could you do this as far as on AWS EC2 instance or something like that to deploy and host? Yes, you can. So since you have port 8000, you would just want to open up port 8000 and you can deploy this app and run your own chatbot in this kind of a way with Chainlit.
Yeah, so can we show the prompt playground real quick if you click in on took one step?
Yep.
And so you can click that little button at the bottom there on the prompt playground.
I'm not following.
Yeah,
you mean
yeah, that one
this
right
thing?
there.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is like basically how you can jump in and you can sort of play around with this a little bit. So you're actually in the template view here, so you can actually change the template
And
as you're here.
yeah.
In the
Models,
same way that
templates,
you would
everything
in the
else.
code, you know, in the chat model, which is really great.
So it's a very nice user interface to, again, heading toward democratizing AI. So you just run that boilerplate code and then you're in here and you can modify as you want, right? You have a nice user interface. You don't have to deal more with code.
Yeah, so
Now,
all of that stuff that you'll see like in Hugging Face apps, that's all there, and it feels very like kludgy. It feels very like, you know, it's in my face. Like I don't need to pick all these parameters. You can still get to them if you just click within to this prompt playground. You got the temperature, you've got the tokens, you got everything here. But so anytime that you're building something, you want to show it to your boss and you want to show it to like put it in Chainlit, you know, because there's just like, why would you not? It's super easy to get it up and running and just.
You can also hit save, right? This is coming up. So you'll be able to really save this whole entire thing as a piece of code and then run it live, right? So you did all your interface, you're able to save it, and you'll be able to display it as its own app that way.
Okay,
So
Raul, quick question.
Cool. Yep.
Yeah, regarding the code, I got one question.
Sure.
The way you define the functions, are they sort of like fixed? Because I saw like the async thing, and they're all called main. So if you can come back to the decorators, right below them. And also if you can explain a little bit more about the decorators, you always have to have those.
Yeah, so on these, they help in being able to customize these functions. So they're running specifically on chat start. And you can add more here if you want. But these are the default ones within Chainlit. So this is Chainlit's on Chat Start. There are other ones as well, and we can kind of like keep customizing these functions for the different part of Chainlit.
Awesome. Yeah, but about the function names, I see async thing there. Is there like a sort of like you have to put there all the time?
Yeah, so I don't exactly know about that. I think we have this in Fast API as well, where we have async functions right before we kind of like start our GUI and API in that way. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure about that. Anybody else know?
Yeah, I think there's some great content on the site about it, and of course, you know, Chris is out tonight, but Chris is a great resource as well. So what we want to do is we want to sort of keep pace with the time here, and we want to make sure that, you know, we're actually getting to build the most important thing of the day. And we do have some Chainlit resources available on Maven, where we did a much deeper dive on a different topic, but we opted not to go that direction today. I want to kind of just show you, in case you're interested, the Maven platform. You can find everything associated with the
Raul, I also added the async sync for Chainlit. That looks like exactly an answer to what you're looking for.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're going to be able to find the Chainlit resource associated with the archive application. So you can actually chat with the archive application by running this quick Chainlit.
Can I just have like one last question? Can I?
If it's quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quick. Like, is it optimized only to chatbot format or other formats?
As far as I can tell,
yes. Yes, because even when you're installing it, you can select the LLMs that you want it installed for, and yeah.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with Streamlit, Streamlit was a very, very famous, acquired by Snowflake way to build web apps. And what the Chainlit guys did is they sort of basically took what Streamlit had done and kind of mirrored it almost exactly for LLMs specifically and for chains. And so it worked really well. I actually thought that they had to be the same people that built it for a long time, until I realized, like, oh no, it was just sort of a copycat thing. And so they built it out at the right place at the right time. Streamlit is sort of the generic one and works very well for all sorts of applications. So check out Streamlit if you want to build different types.
Yeah, Streamlit I'm familiar with. Thanks, awesome.
Yeah, you bet. All right, so what we wanted to do today is we wanted to give you sort of this idea of evaluation of RAGs. This is one of the things we'd be getting a lot of questions about. This is one of the things that, you know, if somebody needs an answer, here's an answer. And we're going to break down why this is not the answer, but it is an answer. And you can use it and people will like it, okay? So this RAG-as framework, this RAG assessment framework, is a way that we can actually do this. And it will calculate faithfulness and context relevancy and context recall and answer relevancy and aspect critiques for whatever aspects we like. So it's a sort of a micro view of how to solve this evaluation problem for RAGs. It is a framework that is directly based on other frameworks. We're going to go straight meta next week on Tuesday and talk about how those other frameworks came into being. But this is a framework we wanted to get your hands on today. And the reason why we wanted to do this is because this is something that's gaining in popularity, and this is also something that, you know, is kind of becoming the standard. And it's also something that the founder of and the creator of this came out of the MLOps community that he was a part of for a long time and sort of built this. And it's the kind of thing that, as Juan said, he kind of built his own RAG-as framework for his, script for his AI. Forgot the name of it already. I guess it wasn't catchy enough one. The script summarizer. But this is kind of the idea, is you need something, and this is something. And so without me talking a whole bunch, because we want to get your hands on this, the other thing that happened this week is that GPT 3.5 came out. Okay. And we're out here at the edge, and what we do at the edge is we build at the edge. So 2 days ago, GPT 3.5 came out. Today, LlamaIndex posts this, where they're like, hey, we successfully fine-tuned GPT 3.5 Turbo to output GPT-4 quality responses in an end-to-end RAG system, where they actually used eval using RAG-AS, I guess, RAG assessment, RAG-AS. And we took their notebook and we made it ours. And we want you guys to play with it because it's pretty cool. So we're basically stacking on what the LlamaIndex co-founder managed to put together since GPT 3.5 came out. So if you came to the sesh last night, then you already messed with some fine-tuning of GPT 3.5 Turbo. And what we did is we took their notebook here and we built it into an assignment. And we're going to release the answer to this assignment later this week. But the assignment is this. All right. The assignment is, no, that's not what I wanted there. The assignment is to build a fine-tuning machine using Chainlit. So what you're going to do is you're going to actually take the fine-tuning of GPT 3.5 to output responses more like GPT-4. You're going to take that brain that's built with LlamaIndex and you're going to put it in Chainlit. And what I'm pushing Chris for is I want a Chainlit app where we can select either LangChain or LlamaIndex to answer our same question. I think that would be really cool, because the thing we don't have time for today that I wanted to discuss, we'll have to pick up later, is LangChain or LlamaIndex. Why? Which one's better? It's a question we keep getting. So what I want to do is I want to make sure you guys have time for this. And we don't really have time to walk through the notebook with you, but we did make our own version, and it is on GitHub, and we're going to share the link with you now. And it's available in the GitHub AI Makerspace LLM01 cohort. Week 2, automating fine-tuning with LlamaIndex. So start with the notebook and see if you cannot do it in their collab, but rather see if you can do this locally on your machine using the notebook from our repo. Get this running, and then the task will be, can you wrap a Chainlit app around it? That's going to be the task. All right. So this is pretty cool. And what you'll see at the very end of this is, and we sort of added our own flavor to this, which is fun. So we added a little Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy vibe to this. And at the end, you'll see we can ask questions like, forget even what we asked here. But at the end, you'll see we can compare responses from GPT-4 and fine-tuned GPT 3.5 about, I got to find the prompt. I'm sorry, I have to find the prompt. Otherwise, it's just not. What did Arthur see when he moved back and looked again at the solid wall of blue ice, for instance? Arthur saw the sky when he moved back. Arthur saw something within the frozen depths. Well, which one's better? Which one's better? What do you think? Well, what we can do is we can say the base model has an answer relevancy, the fine-tuned model has an answer relevancy, and the base model and the fine-tuned model for each question both have a faithfulness as well. And so what you can do is you can sort of stack these metrics that we're going to have to get to know on one another, and you can give people an answer. Now, are these metrics perfect? We're going to talk about that next week. Where do they come from? How should we be thinking about them at a more meta level? Why is this all of a sudden the answer when there is no answer? Is there really an answer? These are all great discussions that are going to have to wait until next Tuesday. But for today, we're going to build, and we're going to build for the next 20 minutes together in rooms of 2. We've shared the link in the chat. We'll share it in Discord. And we hope that you guys have a little bit of fun with this and find it useful. So we are officially building at the state of the art. Can't wait to see what you ship and share tonight into tomorrow, because the world wants this. And I bet Raul could have another job offer by the end of the week. All right, that's it. 20 minutes. See you back. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Love to see that. Cameras on. How did it go? I mean, thumbs up, thumbs down. I feel like that we didn't set you up very well, so it should have been hard. Hum,
Yeah.
what did you think?
Yeah, so we haven't finished running the notebook yet. So I think that the data and question generation took so long. So we've maybe kind of 70-80% finishing running it. So yeah, and
yeah, I'm guessing, I don't know if ChatGPT is slow, but like when it said this takes 30 seconds to like 2 minutes, it took like 10 minutes for me to run. So,
that's true.
yeah.
Zayshan and I that waiting for it running, and then we talk about different things.
Yeah. Well, you never know quite what's going to happen when you just pick up the thing that somebody put out today and try to run with it. But, you know, overall, it seems like it went decent. I think we could have done a better job setting you up, but, you know, thanks for being good sports today, everybody. And, you know, really kind of one of the things that we'll continue to discuss in the coming weeks is that LangChain and LlamaIndex are 2 ways to do similar things. And there are areas of overlap. There are things that one can do better than the other, but at the end of the day, I think they are competitors, and they're going to keep competing, and they're going to keep moving towards one another. Fine tuning is clearly, this is a great week for fine tuning. Everybody's talking about it. You know, we're going to see that Chainlit was very much built for chains. As you get into the Llama indexing with Chainlit, you might run into some issues, as we did today, trying to develop what we thought was going to be a little bit quicker than it actually ended up being. RAG eval is another thread we're going to pick up next week as well. Assignment 3 and 4 are both up on Maven now and due next Monday. We'd love to see you continue to ship and share. Of course, it's working for a lot of folks, and you know, that's what we love to see. You know, it's just, that's the best, is when you guys get exactly